Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. Have a seat, get comfortable. I'm gonna be doing a review today, you guys, on Power Ghost Book 2. And full disclosure, I'm just gonna put it out there and keep it real with y'all. I really was not into this one. I did not watch it, but everybody kept saying it was good. Um, I liked Raising Kanan. I love BMF. I like the original Power. But Tyreek had me so pissed off with him, okay, for killing Ghost that I was like, I am not watching no damn show about him, okay? I'm looking forward to the one on Tommy. But everybody was like, no, it's good. Watch it, watch it, watch it. So I literally binged it Friday and Saturday, finished the whole first season so that I could go ahead and be ready for season 2, episode 1, when it was time for it to air. Okay, so we basically pick up where we left off. We know that Tyreek had basically killed Jabari, okay, in the park, the professor. And so we start out with him having a dream of shooting him, and Jabari saying, "This is not you, you're not a killer," and all of that. And he wakes up and basically starts texting, Tasha. And at this point, we don't know it yet because I was assuming that he was at the dorm sleeping. But he actually goes downstairs and his little sister Yaz is in the kitchen cooking. Well, actually, got the kitchen, about to be burned down. And so he hurries up, and I think he had got like either flour or baking soda out of the refrigerator and throws it on there. And Yaz is like, "Well, how did you know to do that?" And he was like, "Mommy taught me when I was about your age." And so then we have grandma coming out talking about, "Girl, what you doing in here?" And you know better than that. And she's like telling Tyreek, "Oh, well, she's not just making it for her, she's making it for us." And he was like, "Well, why you got her in here cooking?" She was like, "Well, I was cooking at her age. Your mother was cooking at her age. Nothing wrong with it. She should be knowing how to cook." And then she tastes a piece of the bacon and she talking about, "I like my bacon crispy, not burnt." And to be honest with you, I'm there with her. I like my bacon crispy too. I gotta have a crunch to it. But nonetheless, she seems a little confused. She's asking Tyreek, what is he doing there? And he thinks he can just, pop in and out when he feel like it. And he's like, "What are you talking about? I was here since 8 o'clock last night. You don't remember?" And then she's like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, right. 8 o'clock last night." And she's like, "Well, anyway, I'm going to go back and lay down." So basically, Tyreek then asked Yaz, like, has she been drinking again? And he's like, "Yeah, it's getting real bad." And my whole thing is the ending of season 1, when Tasha, first of all, through the whole season, she's locked up. She's saying, "I got my 2 kids. I got to get back to my 2 kids, da 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 da." You get out, okay? Tyreek obviously, wasn't going with her. He's saying where yes. You like, "Oh, I left her with mommy." First of all, girl, you already done missed out from your child while you was locked up, okay? She always was gone previous to that when her and Ghost was dealing with their shenanigans. You have one daughter that's dead, of course, and Tyreek is doing his own thing. I did not understand the choice in you leaving, even when you thought it was just going to be you and Tyreek supposedly on the run. You leaving Yaz behind with your mother when you know that your mother wasn't all the way there and was having certain issues from before. So, as usual, some of the choices that Tasha and them make, I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, I didn't understand the concept in that at all, that you thought it was okay to just leave her behind because she's not like you and Tariq. But nonetheless, now, of course, Tariq is worried, about her being there. And he's trying to get in touch with Tasha throughout, and he's not getting no response back. So he ends up calling Method Man. I can't remember what his character name is in there. But he ends up calling him like, "Yo, is it possible that you can get some info on where my mom is at?" And he's like, "Oh no, once she's in witness protection, I can't do that." But anyway, he says he's gonna dig. And then he's telling Cooper about it, and he's like, "Oh, do you think you could help me find out some info or whatever?" And of course, Cooper's talking about, "Oh, I thought I was supposed to be one of the partners and blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Well, you're, the associates." And so, first of all, I have to say, I can't stand his ass. I was mad to still see him around and still see him with his foolishness in season 1. And I was wondering what was Method Man's game plan, while he would be inviting him to work with him, which we do find out about that later. And so I'm like, oh, okay. But nonetheless, we get Monet, and she's hearing noise downstairs in the house, and it seems like she's getting flashes about Rico, and I'm a little confused about that too. I'm like, girl, if it was gonna have you all jumpy like that, and where you getting flashbacks and you nervous, then why the hell did you go do it? I mean, you seemed like you was set on this happening, and you pretty much had your mind made up and knew that this was a part of the game and this is the way you had to play. So I don't know. It was a little funny to me that she seemed to be having flashes too and being scared and nervous. Or if that was the case, then maybe you need to up your security, or maybe you needed to be moved to a different location, something, if your nerves is bad like that. But nonetheless, she sees the daughter in the hallway, and the daughter's like, what's that? What's going on? And she was like, oh, just stay here. And if I'm not back in 5 minutes, go out the window and whatever. So she goes downstairs, and it ends up that it's Drew in the kitchen. He basically wants water for, to take his medicine. And she's telling him that his bandages have to be changed, and does he need help? And he's like giving her all this attitude. And so then the sister comes down and, basically is talking to him as well and saying, oh, you scared us. And then she's like, oh, she's scared, mommy is scared too, and she was worried about you and all of that. And he's like, oh, well, she's not more scared than me, or she's not more hurt than me, with all this attitude. And so then Monet and her daughter go shopping. At one point, Monet's daughter comes out with this sexy dress on, and she like, girl, if you don't go ahead and take that damn thing off, get that off now. And so apparently they're going shopping so that they can get these boxes to be able to put the product in, to be able to move the product. And so then as they're leaving from there, they make a stop, and she's like, oh, I need to run in this place real quick. And when she comes out, there's an officer at the car, and she's like ready to pull out her gun and real nervous. And I'm like, okay, so we're gonna shoot a cop? Like, I don't get it. Like, she just seemed like she was really on eggshells this episode. And the daughter was like, I worked it out, I did what you told me to do, what you've always taught me. And he basically just wanted me to move the car. And so she's like, all right, well then let's go ahead and get out of here. So Tariq goes with Skids to his family. Now he's complaining, he don't like them, and there's a car there, and Tariq is like, listen, I don't know what the hell you complaining about. Like, I would love it if, I was getting gifts and all of that. And he's like, you just don't understand, you don't get it. And so while they're inside the house at the party, the uncle, I think it was, is like being nasty, you know what I mean, like giving nice nasty or whatever. And he's trying to be sarcastic and say, oh, well, with your background, and I'm sure you don't know this and you don't know that. And I did like this part with Tariq was giving it to him right back, and he was telling him, oh, my father's James St. Patrick. And he's like, oh, well, I met him one time, and being phony about it, but at the same time thinking that he's checking him about lower class and about black people and about how, when you abuse drugs. And Tariq is pretty much like, yeah, we have a big, epidemic with, pain pills and opioids. And so I was loving this, because I don't know what it was that made this man feel like, I'm going to walk across the room and just bother this college student that's here with, my nephew. It seemed mad random to me. And I guess it was more of, not I guess, I know, we know the deal, a race and a economic issue. Because first he tried to come at him as far as, oh, kids from certain neighborhoods, kids from certain economic status. And he's like, oh, well, I got my trust fund. And it's like, oh, he's in the same program that you actually graduated from. And he's like, wow, that's a prestigious program. Like, he couldn't believe that he could possibly be in that program. And he basically was letting him know that legal drugs are more of a higher killing higher rate, at a higher rate than illegal drugs, and of course, people that do use illegal drugs or have sold illegal drugs definitely was getting like jail time and serving jail for this. But as soon as it became a thing of celebrities and, of course, other people getting in trouble with the addiction pills, that's when it was like, oh, they need help. We need to have programs. We need to be able to do different things. That wasn't being said as far as black people. So Tariq was basically breaking all that part down. And I have to be honest and say that was the second time that I have ever actually liked him and was like, yes, go Tariq, because any other time, no. Okay, but I was like, check him, yes, let him know. And he was spitting nothing but facts when it came to that part. Um, and so we get this scene where Little Guap, Kane, and this new guy that comes on the scene, we don't know who the hell he is, Mecca, is walking. And Kane at this point is asking him different questions, just basically trying to test the waters and find out, what he's about and whether he knew his dad or not and what groups he ran with and what he's into. So he's like, oh, I see, that you tested me and you don't trust me or whatever the case may be. And he's like, no, I don't. And these guys approached him because of Little Guap situation and, basically was going in like, oh, you a sucker, you a coward, you turned on us, you set us up. And they was like, telling the guy like, oh, you in the wrong place in the wrong time, you getting caught up in this. And all of a sudden, he just turns into like Van Damme or somebody from back in the days with the old school movies and starts kicking they behind in the middle of the street and shooting the guy and all of this. And so then it's like, oh, okay, you don't think he's a narc no more, right? And I'm like, okay, yeah, but we know it's still something going on with him because it just seemed a little bit, too convenient and too obvious. But he got a pass for now. And so basically Tariq goes to the school and everybody's kind of in the hallway waiting around. Nobody knows where Jabari is. Nobody's heard anything from him. And I think her name is Professor Carrie, but at this point I'm ready to call her Professor Love Doctor because homegirl stay getting it in, but nonetheless, she doesn't know anything. She's asking and she's calling and texting and saying the kids is in the hallway. And then she's like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and go over the, lecture with you guys or whatever. We're still going to continue. I don't know where he's at, but, I know about it and whatever. And she just does it. And so basically, we also get to see the Tate brothers. I love seeing them up here together. And he's waking up Councilman Tate like, yo, you got to get up. You got to stop, stop laying around, get on your grind. You can't just be here like this. You need to get it together. And so we then find that the cops are finding Jabari and they're finding Detective Ramirez's gun on him. And I don't know what the hell Tariq was thinking with that plan either. And I'm a little confused because it's like, is this supposed to be the next night? I'm not too sure. But you figure like a whole day done went past. We done had Tariq at his, grandmother's house. We done had him go to school. We done had him with Braden. It definitely was nighttime when they was looking at his body. So I'm saying the whole day went by and his body was there and nobody ever saw it and called the cops. I don't know. That was a little crazy to me, the timeline. And not only that, it just was mad random. Like, first of all, Remembers has already been missing, if I'm not mistaken, from like a week at this point. And so he's missing for a week, but he's came and shot this professor for what reason exactly? And then he's going to leave his gun there. So that really didn't make any sense. But for whatever reason, Tariq thought it was going to work. And so, of course, now it's all on the news. And, the kids in the school are starting to talk about it. And Monet is basically, calling Tariq at this point. He's getting a text from Kane as well, saying, I thought you knew what you was doing. I thought you said, that you had this set up and you better not lie, to Monet about this. Oh, as a matter of fact, I'm jumping a little bit ahead, to be honest, because that happened after, because Lauren comes to see Tariq after finding out the news as well. And she basically is distraught, so upset, and she's wondering why Tariq is not upset. And Tariq is like, well, first of all, I didn't even know him like that, number one. And he was like, at this point, I done had my dad killed, I done had my best friend killed, I done seen somebody else. So she's like, oh yeah, I forgot about those things and I didn't realize it and da 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 da. But it's like if she wants him to sit there and, hold her and confront her. But at this point, that's when he gets the text from Kane, and he's basically telling her, I gotta go. And it's kind of like every time she comes around, he's always saying, I gotta go. I don't think it's ever been a time that he's really been there for her. He kind of shows a little bit of love here and there, but then it's like the other chick, ends up popping up, or something where Monet and Diana and them happen. And then now in this situation, Kane had, texted him, he met up with him. They had a discussion, and while he's in the middle of the discussion with him, then that's when Monet basically, contacts him as well. And so we also see Tate go to that high up DA guy, whatever that was over Cooper, and telling him, oh, I want to get this seat and I want to run, for where Sweeney is at, which is the same one that was coming up on Tariq. And he's kind of like, oh, you're not gonna get that seat and you're not gonna win or whatever, and I'm here with my daughters, you disturbing me now, you got 5 minutes now, you lost more minutes, oh, you coming with that get out my face type of thing. And so Councilman Tate is like, he had told him like the only way you would get it is if you found dirt on him, and he puts his foot in the door and blocks it or whatever, and basically was like, so if I get the dirt and I bring it back to you, then we good to go. And he was like, yeah. So of course now he's gonna be on a mission to find the dirt on him. We also get to see Professor Love again walking. I'm sorry, I keep calling her Professor Love, but y'all get the point. And she, I'm assuming, was on the phone with her counselor that she be talking to, and saying how, oh, she's done with all this stuff and she's actually going to meet, a cop that was, a friend of hers before, and she think that is a good thing, and, it will go good and all of this. But when she gets there, he tells her, and we see is the same detective that found Ramirez the night before. He tells her, oh no, I don't like this place. We're going to go somewhere else. And then all of a sudden they show up at a morgue. I just was like, wait a minute. I know this man did not tell her that they was going out for coffee or going out to eat, and then just randomly threw on her like, surprise, we're at a morgue and go ahead and look at this body. Yeah, that's pretty much how it came off. That was just very weird. I was like, so you just surprised her and took her to the morgue, didn't give her no warning, had them pull back the sheet and was like, look. And so of course she's upset, she's crying. I guess he wanted to like see what her reaction was gonna be to his death. It was a little weird because it was like partly, detective, cop being suspicious, trying to see, I guess, if she could have had anything to do with it or know anything about it. But at the same time was also giving off like jealousy type of vibe, like, oh, I know how you get down, and oh, it seemed like you had something more with him than that. And it's like, obviously y'all had more too. So it was just like a little bit of both, and that just was a weird scene to me. So of course she's upset, and Monet is actually having a family meeting with Drew and Diana as well, just basically discussing with them like, yo, we're gonna get out this business. I have a way for us to get out this business. I give us 3 years, and we're basically gonna have Zeke go into, draft in the NBA, and we're gonna be following him around everywhere he's gonna be going. Drew is gonna take care of him, and Diana, you're gonna be taking care of the stuff as far as press and different things. And so Drew basically says, okay, so Zeke is going to be the product. And then they're asking like, well, what if he don't want to do that or whatever? And she's like, oh no, it's not no choice. And she's basically saying, no, Zeke is family. But Monet, sweetie, I'm sorry, girl. It's like, she confuses me because she made Kane the monster he was or is. And then when he's acting that way, it's like now it's too out of hand, and you trying to get a handle on it, and you mad and you disowning him, but you literally made him be where it was like, he's this killing machine, or he's this thug that's supposed to beat up people when it's time to beat them up, and that was his job. With your daughter, on the one hand, you're telling her go flirt with this one and that one, use what you got and all this type of stuff. But then if she goes to put a dress on that's sexy, or she's talking to somebody that you don't want her to talk to, then you all on top of her like, oh, get over here. You know, Drew, same thing. You don't want him to live his life. You don't want him to go anywhere. Everything is around you. And but nonetheless, even as she's telling them this story, it's all like involving her, Drew, and Diana. There's no mention in the father of this. So I guess it's just supposed to be that his ass can just go ahead and stay in jail and work it out whichever way they gonna be gone. So that's what I get from that. And so then when Tariq finally meets up with Monet, of course she asks him straight up, did you have anything to do with this? Is this gonna come back to us in any kind of way? You know, it seems real convenient that this was one of the teachers that was asking questions, and we already had cops around the campus, and it's gonna slow you up with anything. And then he's saying no. And so she's like, oh, I got product, are you gonna be able to handle it? Can you take it? He tells her yeah. So when him and Diana's in the kitchen, this part just really cracked me up. It was like, just, proves another point of what I just was saying. They talking, and freaking Monet come behind that damn corner so quick and was like, excuse me, Diana, get out of here, get going. He don't need your help. He could do it himself. You got it, right, Tariq? And I was cracking up like, she be cutting around them corners the way Lamar could be sneaking up in people's houses, baby. She be on it, and she don't want them messing around at all. So basically he ends up leaving after that, and going and giving the bag to Brandon. And at first Brandon is like, oh, I can't handle all of this, and this is a lot, and what if I get stopped? And basically he tells him, use your white privilege. I'm pretty sure if they stop you, you could just, be like, oh, I'm going here, da da da, and they will let you go. And so, hey, more than likely that is true. And we have Mecca bring Kane to this hangar, okay? And his car's in the hangar, there's a plane in the hangar, and he has this guy, I guess he was the guy that got away during, when they had the altercation early in the day, and he's like, oh, I got this for you, and I want to see, what you're going to do or how you're going to handle it, or whatever the case may be. Is up to you. And he gives him a knife, and then Kane takes the knife and was like, oh, I don't need this knife, and I don't need nobody to tell me, the way I'm supposed to do anything. And he basically cuts the guy loose and was like, I could be his ass. So, they fighting whatever for a minute, and then he basically just breaks the guy's neck. And he also some kind of way miraculously gets left, alone, and sees that this guy has some heavy weight up on the plane, and he's all in it being nosy, and picks up one of them. And then all of a sudden Mecca's behind him with a gun, like, oh, what are you doing? And basically saying, why shouldn't I kill you right now, and da da da. So that scene really didn't make no sense to me either. It was just like, okay, I guess this is just how they throwing this guy in here to make us know that he's going to be somebody that's a new character that this season, that's probably more than likely either wanting something to do with their father, or some kind of way want to have something to do with Monet, seems more likely. And he's using Kane as a way in, because the excuse that Kane came up with, quickly was like, not, I don't know, it just wasn't that deep for me. And it just seemed like, first of all, if you invited him here to get this guy, and you had the plane open where he could just see and have easy access to it, that all just seemed like a setup. And that's the thing about Kane. Like, yeah, he'll be a little lurky, and he don't trust, and he goes so hard with, oh, why they doing this and that with Tariq, and be stuck on him. But he doesn't think when it comes to other things. He just can react really fast. And yeah, he's ready to fight, he's ready to shoot, but he's not really one that uses his brains too much, in my opinion. So that's all I could say on that. And so Tate does see his brother and ask him to dig into Sweeney, start digging in them crates, get get the records from the cops, so that way he can come up with info from him. And I think what's probably going to happen down the line with that is that Tariq is going to need his help, And Tyreek some kind of way is going to tell him that he can help him, and he'll probably end up, contributing to the inflow that he needs on Sweeney for him to be able to take his seat. That's what I think, because it was just weird how they put those two together, and then how we got the guy Mecca all of a sudden showing up. So, they got to place them in some kind of way. And basically Tyreek goes hunting, and they damn near shoot him. I don't know if it was Sweeney or if it was the father. So it's like, well, what's going on now? Because now we ain't just doing words. Now you actually could have hurt him. That was a little weird. And they go running to where the deer is at, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, and you could just shoot it, and da-da-da-da. And for whatever reason, Tyreek is now having flashes. He's so, traumatized and triggered by the deer, and he can't do it. Braden does, he gets upset, and he's like, F this, I'm out of here. And then Braden basically is running behind him and calling his name or whatever the case may be. And Method Man goes and visit Redman in jail. We find out that they're brothers. And then we find out the reason why he's keeping Cooper's dusty ass around, okay? Because I didn't get it. I didn't know why he would still want him there. But nonetheless, he's expecting him to help him get him out of jail. And obviously, there's something wrong with him. He has some kind of illness, because he's asking him if he took his medicine, and he's telling him yeah. And so I guess we're going to, get into that and find out what's going to happen with that as well. And so Kane pops up back at the mother house, knocking again, still trying to get in. She doesn't open the door for him. He gets mad, jumps in his car, and runs off. And we see Mr. Mecca in the cut lurking and looking and watching. So we will be keeping eyes on you, brother. And then we get Tyreek, where he becomes dummy again. I mean, this boy always swear that he's smarter than every damn body and he know every damn thing, and then does something stupid, which is why I didn't like him in Power originally, okay? And it reminds me so much of Kanan, and it's like, this is why you and Kanan got along, because both of y'all do dumb shit. His phone rings, he answers it, it's the damn cops. And now they know and have, they don't know that it's him, but they pretty much have narrowed it down and excluded a whole lot of other people, and especially Detective Ramirez, because they're like, oh, this is at the Stanford College. So now all they got to do is stay around there, and now you're going to have cops around you even longer. So great job, Tyreek, as usual. And that pretty much was Power, y'all. Tell me how y'all felt about it. Tell me what y'all thought about this episode. Tell me what you think is coming up. Just discuss it in the comments. And like and share the video. I'll see y'all later. Toodaloo.